Hi everybody, it's Casey Williams. Well, I've had to endure quite a bit of celebrity this week. Kids hanging out of cars yelling and screaming, grown adults pointing at me, people even stopping at my house and walking into my driveway. It's been absolutely crazy. But of course, it's not about me. It's about the 2020 Corvette Stingray behind me. Let's go have a look. Well, I thought I'd start with a little confessional. I'm a longtime Corvette fan. When I was a little kid, I remember Corvettes, in the high school homecoming parades. And then my best friend from high school, his dad bought one. And I just remember staying in the garage and his dad backing that car in and just staring at it and thinking if I could afford one, I'd have one. And then years later, I started writing about Corvettes. I had the chance to drive a Corvette from Dallas to Bowling Green, Kentucky and back to celebrate the museum's anniversary. Had a great time. And when I came back, I was absolutely smitten. So I bought a 1989 Corvette, 6-speed manual transmission. And I've had the car for about 20 years. So I've really had a lot of time, and of course had a lot of test cars over those years. Spent a lot of times with Corvettes. So to get the 2020 Stingray and get to spend some time in it this week has really been a joy and almost a life come true. So I want to take you around the car, show you the things that really makes it special compared to past Corvettes, show you some of the traits that, they get from the best of the past Corvettes, and let's go for a drive and just show you what it's all about. Well, the overriding comment I got this week, just time and time again, was, I saw the car, it looked like a Corvette, but it just didn't seem right. Well, that's because the proportions have changed. It's a mid-engine car. So you still have the kind of long pointy nose that definitely says Corvette, the squinty headlamps, LEDs. It looks very aggressive in the front. So when you see it from the front, it looks like a Corvette. You know what it is. I like the black accents, looks really good. Come around the side, 19-inch wheels in the front, 20-inch wheels in the back, black of course, more black accents on the car. I think it looks really nice, looks very aggressive. I like the Sebring orange paint. It's actually a metallic paint when you get close to it. Looks very good. This car has a Z51 package on it. So that adds the rear spoiler, adds performance brakes, performance suspension, and some other niceties to it. Also has electronic limited slip rear differential. So all nice part of that package as well. But I just like it. And some of the features that you see from past Corvettes, these strong fender lines, the creases here, you see those all the way back to the 1960s. They look really nice. This line here kind of carries up and back. You've seen that in recent Corvettes. Even this line kind of echoes the fender vents on the last generation Corvette. The top does come out, so it's got a targa roof. This goes into the trunk. And you come around the side and you start looking again. This is where you really see the different proportions. It's just much, much longer through here. But it still has that flying buttress look like the 1970s cars did. Come around the back. Kind of has the Corvette look from the recent Stingray, the C7 generation, previous generation. Tail lamps, still get 4 of them. Got the blacked out Stingray, it's kind of cool. Well, I really like this look kind of here. The creases, the way the panels come back, beautiful. But this is the part that everybody wants to see, of course. The engine. For people who have had Corvettes for many, many years, that is the strangest thing about it, to open up the trunk and see the engine back here. But there it is, and looks great. It's a 6.2 liter V8, delivers 495 horsepower. And if you're easy on the gas, 15 miles per gallon in the city, 27 miles per gallon on the highway. So for a car that has 495 horsepower, which is 0 to 60 in less than 3 seconds, top speed near 200 miles per hour, to be able to get 27 miles per gallon on the highway is just pretty extraordinary. So this is the rear trunk. And the nice thing about it is, you can get a golf bag in here. You can get, a couple duffel bags in here. And there's still enough space to get the targa roof to fit in here too, so you got a place to store that. Well, since there's no engine up here, you might be wondering what is in the front of the car. Well, as Tesla calls them, there's a frunk. And it's pretty deep. You can get quite a bit of stuff in there. Certainly get a bag. I think you can get a roller bag in there, fit pretty well. There's actually a power outlet there too. So if you're at a car show and you want to power a small refrigerator, you can probably do that from here as well. But there's deep bins. So between the back trunk and the front frunk, there's almost as much luggage space as the previous generation car. It's just kind of split up in different places. So one of the things about a mid-engine car typically is not a lot of luggage space, not a lot of interior space, tend to not have a lot of leg room, and they're just hard to see out of. But you'll see when you get in the interior, there's actually a lot of interior space in this car too. So Chevrolet was able to overcome kind of the deficiencies of a mid-engine car and really get some of the advantages of their previous front-engine cars. And I think it worked out really nice for them. I think one of the things that Corvette owners will tell you they really love about their cars is the fact that they have a removable roof. There are convertibles, but the Targa top and in the old days the T-tops, I think are great. Because when you buckle these things in place, it's just like driving a hard coupe. But you get a nice day like this, top comes out, open air, it's great. So my car, my old 89, First of all, the top's really heavy, and it takes 4 bolts to get it out. This one, there's 2 header latches, just like a convertible roof, 1 extra latch here in the back, and then it just comes right out of the top. So it's unbuckled. A little awkward at first, but it's not very heavy. Come around the back. Right into place. So not difficult, 1 person can do it. 2 people makes it a little bit easier. But there it is, fits right in the back. Now you got an open air car and you're ready to go. Well, for the last several decades at least, a hallmark of the Corvette has been, it's a pretty comfortable car. You can get in these cars, you can do 1,000-mile days in them, and you're not miserable. And that's not true of a lot of high-powered sports cars, and certainly a lot of mid-engine sports cars. So for Chevrolet to offer a mid-engine Corvette, you had to be able to have a car that you could be comfortable in, drive it, and enjoy being on the road in it. And they've just done a great job. I love the design, I love how everything's laid out. There's really nothing all that complicated inside the car to use in it. So, very wide car, you got a wide door sill, you kind of have to fall into the car and push yourself back up out of it. But that's just kind of the fun of it. And this car has pretty much everything you'd want. So some of the style, and you're kind of looking at all the buttons and wondering what everything's for. So this sweeping column of buttons is all the climate control. Top part's for the driver, bottom part's for the passenger, and the middle is kind of the auxiliary buttons. This got dual zone automatic climate control, all the selectors here, heated seats, ventilated seats. So this is a lot less complicated to use than it actually looks at all the buttons on it. You're really only just kind of using the top couple of buttons up here and a couple for the passenger side. The seats, these are the GT2 seats. It's an upgrade for them. It has the carbon fiber accents on them, leather, very nice. But some other nice things about these seats is they're multi-adjustable. So you can adjust the lumbar in the bottom, again, on long drives, really pop your back out. The side wings go in and out. So, if you're a little bit of a bigger person, you're still going to fit in the car. And if you're really thin and younger, perhaps, you can tighten those right up and fit right in the car as well. But a car that you can drive all the time, like I said, the thing I like about Corvettes, I like about my Corvette, and I've always liked them since, is they're just not complicated cars. The infotainment screen looks really slick, comes out, but it's essentially the Chevrolet infotainment system. Very easy to use, Bluetooth, got 4G Wi-Fi, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all the connections for your phones there. Also wireless phone charging in the back, a place to put your phone there, put it and forget it. If you want to use a USB cord, there's a place in the console for that. Nice deep cup holders. Again, whatever drink you want to take, fits right in there, no problems at all. Controls up here, you got push buttons for the transmission, all the drive controls. This is the drive mode selector up here, another easy wheel, so it's in tour mode. If you put it in sport mode, it'll tighten up the steering a little bit, makes the throttle more sensitive, changes the shift points of the transmission. And then there's a track performance mode, and it does rev matching downshifts and a little more aggressiveness there as well. Flat screen, instrument cluster. It changes design depending on which drive mode you have the car in. And then there's a full head-up display that's floating out over the hood right now. And it also changes what it's displaying depending on what mode you have the car in. So you got it in sport mode. It's got a G meter. It's also showing a tachometer, so you can drive the car. The one thing that you will not see in this car is a stick shift. You cannot get the Corvette with a manual transmission anymore. It was a very low take rate. Almost nobody bought them. Everybody's buying automatics. And the thing with this car is it has the 8-speed dual clutch transmission, so it shifts very, very quickly. You've got the 2 paddles here. And if you're on the track and you're really doing performance driving, that's really preferable anyway. You can't outshift the computer and the transmission. So that works out really well. But I like the steering wheel. They call it the Squircle steering wheel. I think that's really cool. This one happens to be heated, but it's really comfortable. They kind of cut this off just for the sight lines out the front of the car, but it ends up being great. Hands fit nicely here if you're really doing some performance driving, or if you're just on the highway cruising, you just kind of rest your hands up here. Very comfortable, very relaxed. One hand, drinking your latte on the way to work, also very nice. So some of the safety things on this car, one of the disadvantages of having a mid-engine, sometimes it's difficult to see out of it. So they've really overcompensated with all kinds of devices to help you do that. This has their video mirror. So you put it down, it's just a regular mirror out the back, can't see very well. Flip it up, and it uses the camera in the back, so you can see straight out the back of the car and see everything behind you. Also a rear view camera here when you put it in reverse. Also has a front camera, so if you're pulling into a driveway or pulling up to a parking block and you don't want to hit the front of the car, you can use that button for that. It's also got the blind zone warning, rear cross path detection, so it really helps you kind of keep the car out of trouble when you're on the road with it as well. But it's just, again, I think it's a very easy car to drive. I had it on the highway, drove on the interstate for a couple hours yesterday. 2-lane roads, drove it to work, and no complaints at all. I get in and drive 1,000 miles today. Well, driving the car like that, obviously it's a lot of fun. Again, it does 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds with the Z51 package this car has. You know, the transmission is fantastic, the 8-speed transmission. 495 horsepower sitting over my shoulder. Just a joy to drive. You're tucked down in the car, the suspension's tuned right, and you got the engine in the middle of the car, so the car is just so balanced and exactly what you want. But that's not how you're going to drive this car most of the time. You're not going to, you're not going to have track days one after another. Most of the time when people own Corvettes, it's a nice, beautiful evening like this. You have the top out, you have your spouse with you, and you're just cruising around enjoying the evening, you know. And this car is good for that. You can go to the cruise in with it, go see your friends, put a Coke in the nice, beautiful cup holder. It's a comfortable car to be in, easy, just kind of put your hand there, cruise, crank up the Bose audio system, and just enjoy it. And the thing that I enjoy too, again, you get on the interstate with this car, you can drive anywhere you want to drive it. You got enough space for luggage, you got enough space for 2 people. Although I will say there's less passenger space now with this here. You kind of feel a little bit cramped over there, but enough space to get into the car and be comfortable. You get on the highway, you get 27 miles per gallon. If you drive easier, you might get a little bit better than that. It's a lightweight car, it's really aerodynamic. So it's just, you know, a lot of people think cars like this are miserable to be in. It's a little harder to get down into them, a little harder to get back out of them. Once you're in, it's a very pleasant place to be. But just perfect, beautiful cruising cars. And the fact that Chevrolet has transformed this car to a car that's a super high performance car, even compared to previous generation Corvettes, is amazing. So a lot of people say, well, why did they go to a mid-engine? You know, why did they have to change everything? Well, they found out when they went from the Z06 to the Corvette Z01 and added over 100 horsepower to the car, it didn't get appreciably faster. And the reason was you just can't get that weight to shift the back wheels in a front wheel drive or a front engine car. Put the engine in the back, get the weight in the right place, the car hooks up and takes off. So this car has the base engine in it. There are going to be other engines with more power, a lot more performance than this car. And still, it's doing 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, top speed near 200 miles per hour, as basically the base car. So it's going to be really good in the future. The Corvettes to come are going to be great. And I just love that they've created this car, and yet it's still a car that feels like a Corvette. And that's always the question is, you know, can you have a mid-engine car and it still be a Corvette? And I think the answer absolutely is yes. It looks it, it feels it, it drives like it. It's everything you expect. Well, there's no doubt Chevrolet did everything they needed to do with this car. They created a car that longtime Corvette owners and enthusiasts will still fall in love with, has all the traits they've grown to love over the years. But it's a car that'll draw in a new generation of buyers as well. People who like the European sports cars, something a little more exotic, and really want something that has the handling, the performance, to really match its looks. Just across the board, Chevrolet just over-delivered on this car, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. So the only question left is, how much does it cost? Well, the base price starts under $60,000, and Chevrolet is committed to carrying that pricing into 2021. So, you know, for a car like this, that has this performance, absolute steal. Well, this one has a Z51 package, it has the Bose performance audio system on it, and has some other nice upgrades. So this one, as it's equipped, is $79,315. And I think it's fallen in pretty close to where most buyers will end up buying this car. Well, next week we'll have another fun car. I can absolutely promise that I know what it is, and we're gonna have a great time. So until then, storm forward.